Hey, what's up? What's going on, YouTube? Back again with another video, man. In Barbados right now, we're having an election. Um, the two top candidates is obviously going to be the Democratic Labor Party running with Ralph Thorne, and the Barbados Labor Party running with Mia Motley. Now, I've heard both of these candidates. They've spoken, had town hall meetings, and given the fact that I say, because more people know about Mia Motley because she's been on the world stage and everybody knows her. All right, I'm not saying that she has a chance of losing, but I feel like Ralph Ralph how do I say it? Like, Ralph is a person in Barbados. He's living in Barbados. He's not studying about bringing big business into Barbados, or even about he's not studying about bringing big business and borrowing money from other countries and doing all this stuff. He's more focused, I would say, on Barbadian citizens as the main focus of this election, how I see it, because I've heard both of them. I've listened to Mia speak, and she talks about the past and everything that she's been through, and she goes over it from one what do you call it, party nomination setting, and then to another setting she brings back up the same topics about she did this and she did that, but you never really hear about the people. And I myself, I can tell you from living in Barbados, you can see that, like, Barbados needs a change. Like, they need some of these taxes to be taken from the wealthy and obviously distributed from them to the whole island, because Airbnb you'll see this in several spots, well, in several areas. Airbnb has been has been somewhat of a freedom for where you can make some money, and you can build a house and you can rent it out. But being as Bajans, they're not all studying that, but some are. And the fact that these people with villas and all of these high places, like beautiful beaches that got all this land and own all of this property, are paying a little bit of the taxes, and they're taking concessions from the Barbados Labor Party, like being like, you pay a little bit because they know they could charge you more, but this is what they're going to charge you, right? This is where he feels like they should be taking the taxes from the rich and just sharing it with the poor. Like, instead of us having to pay for, like, taxes on water, taxes for garbage pickup, taxes for everything, because you do pay taxes. I can show you bills, like, I would say the water bill specifically. There's a tax for the garbage or something like that, garbage pickup, on the water bill. Like, why am I paying these taxes? Shouldn't that be like they get their money from the taxes which they're collecting from everybody? And to notice that you would charge, or you would study new people coming into the island, to get more people come into the island and spend money and create more of the economy. I understand. Me is beautiful at doing that, but it's like you sit there as a regular everyday person. You're saying to yourself, well, how can I go get a job and make a living for myself, when the same jobs which I'm hired for? Because a lot of people back there will sit and say, I work here, or I would do a couple days work at this place, and I might work over here and I might work over there, but you don't have anything consistent, like job demand. And if you are connected to a company, you stay there for like, if not most or the rest of your life. Try to maintain your job, try to collect the pension, try to, make sure you're adding to the, what do they call it, the credit union. You you have something tucked away. But a lot of these people, not people, but young men, I should say, because young women, they'll get a job and then it may work for them, and they may, see like, yo, well, I need this job because this, and I can't lose it. But some young men feel like, hey, screw you, you can't talk to me like that. I feel disrespected, and you know, the job situation, because you you don't think about that. This is a lot of stuff which none of them spoke about. But at, I say like in June, if not July, there's going to be a whole nother set of another set of people entering into the workforce. What will they have once they come into this workforce? Because a shop can only hire about 4 or 5 people. And if these 4 or 5 people are working there consistently, what's the reason to hire more people? So you got to think about this like that. But back to the voting situation. I'm just saying, like, I can see where the Democratic Liberal Party, their thinking is coming from, based off the fact that, it's not just me. It's not just for me, myself, or just for like the big businesses which want to come into the country, like the Ubers, the Airbnbs, the different businesses that are coming into the country. And in order to get these jobs, you have to know somebody, and it's not like you sign up and you get a job here, a job there. You have to go and look for these jobs. And being the fact that, like, our kids are now entering the workforce, right? Like, what are they gonna have? A lot of kids do drop out of school and feel that they can survive off their own, and then couple weeks, couple months later, they're in trouble because their mother's trying to kick them out, their father's trying to kick them out. Somebody's like, it doesn't go the way they planned. So what are you gonna do about that? And a lot of stuff which is not being talked about. All they're talking about is, well, Santia. I heard Santia said that Ralph was talking about the $500 million which they spent in Oistins to rebuild Oistins. And you can walk through most of the neighborhoods, and people live in shanties, people live in huts, people live in, some small houses, and people live in broken down houses and stuff like that. But they're paying taxes. And you find it so hard to develop around Barbados. And you speak about the Scotland district, about the phase 1 and the phase 2 and all this stuff, but it was a road you built, and you need to build the roads because Barbados and the Scotland district, mostly, I should say, in the Scotland district, the land is sliding. And you can't really do anything about it. That's just the island itself. You'll notice potholes just showing up within the island. You're driving the road, and it's like shit, because they have nobody. Like, you have all of this money you say you have, and you're not rebuilding it fast enough. You're not doing this enough. You have a lot of these young people which are home. You don't even say to yourself, look, hey, why don't we start a community? Well, not really a community, but like a training facility for future workers. Get like I don't even know how to explain it, but get some people that, like, well, you need concrete poured, you need this done, you need that done, but nobody's doing it. You're patching here, patching there, and nothing's ever completed within the time which you set for it, because you hire people You hire people and you get them to come work for you for like a few days, probably a few weeks, and then you don't call them back. I'm speaking this because I know this from personal experience, and the fact that like I've had conversations with people who said that, well, I got a job here, and you know I can't leave, and if I do get sent home early, like I'm losing money, I'm losing this, I'm losing that, but I got to make it back. And then you have to worry about the transportation back there. It's like Barbados is in a fight now for its life, and I hope you guys, you see beyond the glitz and the glamour, and you realize who you should vote for, because I can't vote, even though I'm from Barbados, my birthplace, but still I cannot vote in Barbados, and this is something you have to do. You have to do it, and I hope you get out and you make the right choices, because Barbados needs a change. I'm not saying, Mia is not good and she's not doing her thing, but you sit down and you actually talk to Ralph, and he seems more like, he's more diligent towards like the people rather than the companies coming into Barbados. I sat there and I listened for about 2 hours. I came home at like 12 o'clock. Did some dishes, and I was watching this from like 12:40 until like 2:26. So I wanted to know more. I wanted to hear more about what was going on, within the Democratic Labor Party, and I also wanted to know about what's going on with the Barbados Labor Party. And from what I can see, I see that the Barbados Labor Party is very much like a show and tell. It's like voila, ta-da, and they're trying to make Barbados into a place for visitors rather than helping, the people that needs help. Because there's a lot of people that need help. That a lot of these older people too are living in broken down houses, and it doesn't matter where you are, you're gonna get taxed. If you have a house, you have some land, you're gonna get taxed. But that's where I don't feel that there should be so much taken out from like local people and then people that live there on the island. Like they shouldn't have to pay that much in taxes. But taxes are going up, everything's going up. Barbados want to become more digital, and then just the ideas which she have as to listening to conversations on your phone to see what you're talking about, that's just outrageous. Honestly, that's just outrageous. That's like that's something which only Americans would do, and I don't even think nobody in Barbados is making threats like that or have the infrastructure to go through threats like that. So there's a lot going on in Barbados which most of you guys don't know or may not really care to understand. But get out there, listen to candidates, do what you have to do. I can't tell you anything else. Get out there and make your vote count. I know Mia is doing her thing, and I couldn't lie to you. I was always a Mia fan, but I heard more of Ralph's argument, and it sounds, like yes, like cut the taxes, because you're paying for a garbage tax. Sometimes in the Scotland district, it comes around once like every 3 weeks or once a month. Sometimes garbage, and then sometimes it comes, like every week, boom. But let's be honest now, like there's no reason I should pay the garbage man to come pick garbage up, right? And knowing I'm paying him, but some of my garbage can't go on the truck. I gotta leave like the washing machine. I gotta take that to the dump. I gotta take all the stuff. I can't put it on the garbage truck. So it's just kind of weird. Anyway, I know I might be going on, but Barbados does need a change, and it's beyond how Barbados looks on the world stage, but how Barbados looks to every Bajan that's in Barbados right now. And to be honest with you, the price of everything is going up in Barbados, whether you like to believe it or not. The only thing I can say is down is probably like the money making in Barbados, because if you think raising the minimum wage from $6 or $6.50 to $10.50 was enough, that was enough. That's the minimum wage, all right? Was enough for or to keep people employed. That's crazy to me. I find that crazy because I have a friend, he's been working at the same job for years upon years upon years. And when he got that raise, it was like, wow, he felt relieved. He felt good. He actually bragged to me about it. Like, I make this much. I'm like, all right, cool, boom. But then you think about it and it's like, wow, you make about $400 and about $20 minimum wage. You come to work and you work for about 8-9 hours. Trust me, like 9 hours they work for, and then take a half an hour break out of that, and then you have to be back at work, and you're getting paid about 80, 84 or 85 or probably like $90 or $100 a day in Barbados. And when you do the math on that, it's like, all right, cool, boom. And then you have to pay so much in that, or taxes, as you would say. But what do you have at the end of the week? Because everything has increased. Bus drivers want more money. Your transportation wants more money. And the attitude you get from these people is like, bro, this is for the government. It's not for you. It's not coming out of your pocket, whether I choose to pay this $3.50 or not. $3.50. Why do I need to pay $3.50 to line whose pockets? Come on now. And the fact is like, I don't feel that Barbados have enough people in it. Like, you're telling all these kids, yo, go out, have babies and come and do this and do that. And then when the babies are here, they have no means of taking care of them, because they're not working, they're home. And when it's time for them to get a job, childcare, you got to go to the childcare board and see if you can put them in a school or something like that. And then it's transportation. It hurts regular people. It hurts regular people. Just you raising all these taxes and all of this tax for this and tax for that. Come on now, that's just outrageous. But as a Bajan, or as anybody that's naturalized in Barbados that can vote, please get out and vote and do what you're supposed to do. I don't care if you vote for a Democratic Liberal Party. You see it. You see Ralph as a leader now, even though he was in the Barbados Liberal Party. He left because he didn't agree with the amount of taxes and all the money that them spending on all this BS to bring people into the island. He didn't approve of that. And I must say, this is pertaining towards housing. Like, I could be more sure. Mia said this, that she was going to make sure that if you voted, or if you are a part of a certain entity of work in Barbados, that you were going to come to the front of the line and get a house or get housing. All right. Now, what do you say to the people that's been waiting for spots and for, all of these lands which you promised? You made promises. I'm saying this because this was like over 10 years ago, which you promised to move people out of the Scotland district and put them around, further in St. Thomas and some in St. Andrew. And, you made promises to some people. Why haven't those been met? And now, like, from my own experience, I can tell you the land is slipping. Slowly but surely, the land is slipping. So I just want to know, like, how is she gonna keep to her word? How is she gonna stay true to this? But that's just me. I'm talking out my ass, but still, how is she gonna make this work? You know, Ralph, like, he's been around. I've seen him so much. I've seen so many articles with him and him just talking, but I never really dug into him until now. You know, and I saw that, you know, he's done this before, you know, and like he ran against her 2 times in the past and he has not won. But let's see what happens this year. Maybe it might be an upset, maybe it might be a change. But I know a lot of people still believe in Mia and how Mia is good and Mia is this and Mia is that. And I couldn't disagree with you. Mia is all these things, but when it comes to like the you and I, people from and on the island, why do we have to pay more in taxes? And for these companies are getting cutbacks and, you know, and getting like scotch free, as some people would say, then getting all scotch free. They don't have to do anything, they don't have to pay anything, but I'm getting this stuff for free. Why is this? You know? But I figured, you know, Mia thinks that because them send money or them give money to not to you and I, but well, they did collect some money, they get some money, and then they share out throughout the island. They give each and every one of $300, which one of was, oh wow, it's good, I got $300, boom. And you probably don't know what's for, but that was just that was probably like some extra money which them receive for selling Barbados, because Barbados is bought. China has bought Barbados time and time again. You know, they're building new roads, and not new roads, they're repairing roads, I should say, because the roads in Barbados are horrible. They are horrible. Some areas are horrible, I should say, but other areas are beautiful. You know, like the highways and stuff, like, it's beautiful. But when you go into like the smaller places, you know, like, well, San Andrew, I'm certain of it, I'm gonna say that. But like when you travel Barbados and you start to see like these offbeat places, and you're like, what's going on with the road? Like, why is there so many, you know, faults in the road? And this is Barbados for you. But hey, I don't want to take too much time. I probably spent enough time talking, but still, Barbados needs to, you know, Barbados needs a change. Barbados needs a change. I'm not saying Mia is out, but Mia should stop studying about all these old people. Well, not old people, but all things which people did for her, and holding them on such a high standard, and look towards, you know, improving improving the government. Improving the government, the housing, the workforce, infrastructure, and the schools, because you have all these schools and some of them are rotten down, some of them are falling apart, some of them don't have the same, you know, beauty which they have like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They need to be cleaned up, you know. And not to mention, I heard Santia, she was in Oysters, she said they spent 500 million or something like that, she was saying, in Oysters, to do what? To put in a few solar lights, and like, what is that gonna do? What is that supposed to do? You spent money on that. I mean, you could have said, you know what, look, hey, I want to build some schools and start a workforce for the youth, you know, because like I said, by September, there's another set of thousands and thousands of people coming into the workforce. You need jobs for these people. These people need to find work. They need to, you know, what they're going to do. And not everybody's made for college. Everybody's not made for, you know, sitting back down in class, you know. And I'm sorry, man. I'm probably diving too deep, But this is just how I feel. I feel like Barbados should show up and show out, But hey, we'll know after the election, and hopefully, it goes well, So that's it, man. I'm not gonna beat you guys in the head anymore. If you listen, you listen, but please tune in, check it out, and yeah, that's it, man. I'll holler at y'all later.